That is why we're actually seeing cracks in the bullish stock market, not because of the tariffs, because investors know that they want to be operating in a Western democracy, right? There are tons of big businesses that do no business in the Soviet Union, in Russia, because they know they cannot trust the rule of law. I remember years ago, I interviewed Steve Schwartzman of Blackstone, huge fan of Donald Trump. And he said, full on, we don't do business in Russia. We could never trust the rule of law. Right. And now look where we are.
Exactly.
Hold on a second. What is the host saying there? Soviet Union? For Christ's sake. This woman and people like her are supposed to be educated journalists or broadcasters. That is why she or people like her are placed in front of cameras to report issues to their listeners. They are also expected to have researched their topics before coming on air. And what does she present to her audience? She refers to Russia as the Soviet Union in the year 2025. Goodness, the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. So what kind of history lessons did this woman ever take in her lifetime at school? Or she still thinks in her ignorance that Russia is still the Soviet Union? Hello and welcome again to the Age of Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how President Trump is showing us the ugly side of the United States, but some media sensationalists would rather want to blame President Putin for their woes. So what happened again this time? This woman goes on to talk about Western businessmen scared or not interested in doing business in Russia because there is no rule of law in Russia. Really? Wasn't the whole world hoodwinked to believe that the only democratic country with their so-called rule of law was the United States? And as such, all nations had to do business with and in the US? And which country stole Russia's assets to a tune of over $300 billion in 2022 in the name of sanctions? Wasn't it the same United States? So which part of this United States do we have any rule of law which is better than Russia? For anyone to do business in the United States and to listen to such talks that businessmen are scared of doing business in Russia. Okay, now let's listen to this woman exposing her further ignorance on geopolitics.
So we are in a very dangerous place. And I'll tell you, this idea of Putinization, I get that. But Putin is also a leader, and he believes in a greater Russia. Donald Trump doesn't believe in a greater United States. He believes in his own pocketbook, and that's how he's going to treat this country.
But that's why he adores Putin, right? Russia isn't a superpower, but right. Putin was a KGB agent 30, 40 years ago. Now he is literally one of the richest men in the world, and Trump admires that. What's your take on this?
Well,
just listen to that gibberish. Putin was a KGB agent, and so what? Was George Bush Sr. not also a CIA officer? Is the CIA in the United States not the equivalent of the KGB in Russia? So what makes a George Bush a better person than a Vladimir Putin. Apart from that, where is the proof that President Putin is one of the richest men on earth? Based on what? Anyway, let's listen to the only one on this panel who is being slightly factual. These ignorant ones don't really know the kind of super manipulative person this Zelensky person that they are all supporting is. Vladimir Zelensky promises one thing today and then turns around tomorrow to claim that he never said so and that everybody else is a liar except him, and he is the victim. Let's take a listen again.
Americans.
One thing about you have both called it correctly, this gangster operation of, oh, give us half your rare earth minerals and we'll maybe keep supporting you. It's an important fact that, little known, that last year the Zelensky administration in Ukraine offered such a deal, was dangling that kind of deal before Trump was president. And so it's another case, as with Canada and Mexico, really, U.S. ally, let me play the bully and demand this thing that has already been broached by the ally, and let me give him, say, okay, you have 2 days to decide, or whatever they said, so he can look like a winner and a victor. But it was basically a bribe offered by Ukraine that now Donald Trump has decided to turn into extortion.
So what do you think? Is it President Vladimir Putin who is Putinizing the United States, as this ignorant host is claiming, or it is President Trump who is showing us the ugly side of the United States? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below. And thanks again for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.